you today. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I want to first thank our ambassador and all of our team at the embassy for their incredible work and in helping to make today happen, and also the very close work that we are doing alongside our British Council colleagues for keeping alive and growing our commitment to supporting quality education in Nepal and indeed across the world. And I also want to thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership, and also thank you for your welcome as well as past President. It is an honour to be with you and to also express my appreciation to the whole team at the Nepal-Britain Chamber of Commerce and Industry for your work and for the way in which you continue to support that relationship with enterprise that is so much a cornerstone of how we build our prosperity and grow our economies together. I'm also incredibly pleased to be making my first visit to Nepal as the Minister for the Indo-Pacific, and to also thank and recognise the ministries represented here today. I was very grateful to be able to have meetings with 3 ministers, including from the Ministry for Education and Sport, as well as Foreign Affairs and Finance, Ministry of Finance, just a couple of days ago, and to recognise our long-standing partnership between the UK and Nepal that goes back over 200 years and is underpinned by our Treaty of Friendship that was signed over 100 years ago. And it is a relationship, a long-standing relationship that I see every day in my own community, where I have a large Nepalese diaspora, and where in our local area we had our first local mayor of Nepalese descent that was just a few years ago, with whom I'm very close, former Councillor Vishnu Gurung. And it is a mark of how well also the Nepalese diaspora are doing in the United Kingdom and forming an important part of that living bridge between our nations. And indeed, we have uniquely strong ties between our people and our government. And at a time of democratic renewal in Nepal, I am so pleased to be here as we look to deepen and modernise our partnership, recognising the importance of those reforms, including some of the areas of discussion we have today, that are looking at how we address today's challenges and keep our nations, our policy, our focus fit for the demands of tomorrow. And I'm also grateful to have heard directly the vision and the aspirations of the new government, and to be able to look to how we can share that focus on the future with how we deliver and support the delivery of the new government's priorities. And so I'm also so pleased to be able to be here to see all the work being done on education, our work on public and private education, and how that is important for the work we do through the British Embassy here to support those new partnerships and educational opportunities in Nepal. Education has always been a core focus of our partnership, and it is important because no nation can achieve its aspirations without investing in human talent. For more than 70 years, the UK and Nepal have worked together on education, and much of that being through supporting schools and training teachers. And together we have seen huge progress, with far more children now able to access education. And some of the challenges that we know that girls still face in accessing education, an important part of the roundtable discussions that we had yesterday. But access is only the first chapter. And it is important that, in line with the new government's focus on growth and looking at creating those 2 million jobs, in line with a hope for the next generation, that we also see an increasing focus on outcomes and look to those demands for quality, for skills, and for opportunity that we see with the next generation. And indeed, that was an important focus of the discussions I had with ministers this week, where we spoke about our close working together and also about the vision for education and the range of areas through education that we continue to support through our work together. As one example, we are supporting Nepal to develop its first foundational learning framework, drawing on expertise here in Kathmandu, but also in London. And this builds on our long-standing partnerships, like the UK Girls Education Challenge, which has supported over 30,000 of Nepal's most marginalised girls, helping them to learn, to stay in school, and to move forward. It's also important as we look to how we address the needs with special educational needs, mainstreaming and also additional support, a focus that we also discussed on the needs of children with autism. There's a focus also of the work that we're doing and reforming in the United Kingdom. And it is indeed a partnership that continues to evolve. And that brings me to my second point, because like the UK, Nepal understands with clarity that education and the economy are deeply connected. If you want growth, you need skills. And if you want jobs, you need the right training. And if you want a modern economy, you need a system that can adapt quickly, with businesses that know that as the needs of the economy change, the education system works in lockstep and is there to support, sometimes be ahead, sometimes be quickly catching up, but work that is important together. It is important for some of the reforms that we have also seen in the United Kingdom over the last 18 months. Prior to my work in government as both the Minister for the Indo-Pacific and one of our Ministers for Equalities, before we came into government, I worked closely with our current Secretary of State for Education as her Shadow Skills Minister when we were in opposition. In some of that work I did as both a Shadow Skills Minister and a Shadow Business Minister. We developed in opposition the framework for what we then delivered in government as our industrial strategy, looking at where our economy needed to grow and our priority sectors. The Industrial Strategy Council that we established with business leaders and industry as part of the way we have a strong partnership between government and industry, saw on that council our new head of an institution, a body that we set up, Skills England, the chair of Skills England sitting alongside our industrial partners, focusing that voice of skills at the heart of our delivery of our industrial strategy and our plan for growth. Not by accident, but by design, as we developed our skills strategy for the first time, to make sure that we had a skills strategy linked in with our education system and our business that was driving forward the areas of opportunity, designing new courses and making sure that those apprenticeship programs and our education system was working in lockstep with business and industry for the growth of our economy for the future. And I recognise that in that modern economy and the way in which you are also working here in Nepal, just here in this room we have many educators, we also have many employers and we have investors. And you offer a choice to families and communities. You create jobs, and you help to shape a workforce that can keep pace with a fast-changing world. That is where the United Kingdom, with the work that we do together in our economy and in our education systems, is a natural partner. Education is one of the UK's greatest passions, but also one of our key global strengths, and where we want to be Nepal's partner of choice in every stage of learning. From schools and A-levels, to skills, to higher education and research, it is important that we are also, as a young person said to me, who have the opportunity to learn English, part of how we don't just deliver education, but we support the opening of a world for young people to feel that opportunity is there for them, and to make sure that they recognise that they can achieve their dreams too here in Nepal. And we can already see what that partnership looks like in practice. Today, I think 19 UK universities working with almost 30 campuses across Nepal, reaching more than 17,000 students. That is the power of transnational education. This ambition sits at the heart of our international education strategy, which I was pleased to be present at the launch of earlier this year, and to see the work also of the Education World Forum that was in the United Kingdom earlier this week, with representation from across the world, and I think Nepal also had its presence. And with the Secretary of State for Education, with whom I work as one of the Ministers for Equality in her work also as the Secretary of State for Women and Equalities. Education, equality, inclusion are all part of the same area of focus that governments must address. And it is important because it is about growth and shared prosperity, helping countries like Nepal build the skilled workforce that the future demands. And this is where transnational education, or TNE, really comes into its own. It means that students here in Nepal can gain a UK qualification without having to leave Nepal. It keeps talent here, it lowers cost, and it opens up opportunity for far more people. TNE is also about producing graduates who are ready for real jobs in the local economy, because underpinning all of this is quality. UK qualifications are trusted around the world because of strong standards, rigorous assurance, and a focus on employability that we demand at home and we demand is a hallmark of quality abroad. That is why demand remains high, including here in Nepal. And we welcome the Nepal government's focus on quality assurance. And this is something that we stand ready to support through the British Council and also through our quality bodies. My third and final point is about students. We are so pleased that Nepalis are the sixth largest group of international students in the United Kingdom. It is a sign of trust and of our relationships and of the deep people-to-people ties between our countries. It has to be the right choice, but it has to be the right choice for each and every student. That means strong preparation, including language skills, and it means proper support once students arrive. As our ambassador highlighted, our governments are increasingly focused on this, together with the British councils and organisations that connect people between our two countries, the British Nepal Society and the Nepal British Society. We are strengthening support for Nepali students in the United Kingdom, because these students are part of that living bridge between our countries, shaped by friendship and warm personal ties and family links. So Nepal is a partner in shaping our shared future, building skills, driving innovation, and growing our economies together. Because it is through education that opportunity is created. And it is through opportunity that talent, which is everywhere, is unleashed. And that we work together to ensure that we see growing prosperity for our peoples and for our nations. That is the promise of this partnership, and that is the future that we are building together. And that is why this is such an important and timely conversation as Nepal looks to the future with an ambitious agenda for change and for hope and for prosperity and for inclusive growth. I look forward to continuing to work with you all to build that brighter future that will be our shared legacy for generations to come. Thank you very much.